All right. So we're recording now, and I hope everyone has been able to get previous week's recordings and videos. I know there have been some issues that we've been working on, different computers and things like that. But for the most part, I think everyone's able to download the videos and watch them, which is very cool if you have to take a break or something and miss a hand. And the cheating update. Last week when we were on, I told you about the Israeli team withdrawing, and then I got an email during the webinar about the team from Monaco withdrawing. And then there were rumors that there were a third pair, and that's where I left you off last week. And yes, indeed, the third pair actually came out and admitted that they were cheating after the evidence was presented to them, before the evidence was put on the World Wide Web. And that pair was from Germany. So now Sweden has taken Israel's place, Denmark took Monaco's place, France took Germany's place, and there is a rumor that a Bulgarian pair is under suspicion and may be going out, and they have actually gotten airline tickets and visas for the Norwegian team to take the Bulgarian team's place if it happens before Sunday. So Sunday play at 11 a.m., we could have 4 of the 6 original qualifying teams not in the event, which is just amazing. I'm going to be doing a blog from India, and a lot of you guys are already on there. You lost the voice. Can everybody hear me? Can you guys hear me? What's going on? Yeah? Okay. Uh-oh, Ginger. Yeah, lots of people. I'm not sure what's going on with your voice. Okay. And so I'll be doing a blog from behind the scenes, and I'll also be updating you on the teams that aren't going to be making it there. So make sure you go to the Play Better Bridge blog. You can get to it through the website and follow it, and that way you'll know when a post is there. And I'll send you a follow-up email with the link and everything after the webinar. But I'll be sending back. The time zone difference is 10.5 hours. I've never been on a half-hour time zone thing, so that'll be unusual. But I have figured out for next week, we can keep the same time from 10 to 12 on Wednesday mornings, and that will be 8:30 to 10:30 at night for me. So I'll be done with play for the day and get a quick dinner and then join you guys at 8:30 my time. So we'll continue with, we'll do a bid these hands with me. We'll go back to bidding after that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I've listed out the topics today here. We're going to be looking at play technique, and we'll be looking at long suit development, counting high card points in the opponent's hands. That's when you need to find a card, like find a queen in somebody's hands and you have to count their high card points to figure out if they could still hold that card based on the bidding, or if it's got to be in the other person's hand. A lot of the guessing on that type of thing can often be counted out by counting the high card points or counting the hand. Today's examples, we'll have a couple of them. We'll be counting high card points. Choices of 2 lines to play, that means maybe you have a finesse to take, or you want to depend on a suit breaking a particular way. And so we'll look at the odds and the priorities, which ones you should take first. Using vacant spaces to find missing honors. That'll be another missing honor hand. Deciding which king to finesse. So if you have 2 possible finesses for 2 kings, we'll look at which line is better percentage-wise. And never ever side suits and stripped in plays. We'll have a hand on that. Entry management. Preserving your entries. We'll have a couple of hands on that. Loser on loser play. And then the final hand is a slam hand. I've figured out to finish up with slam hands because that gets everyone excited. Careful play. So that means it looks like it's something simple, but if you don't pay attention, you could fall in the pit. So that'll be the topics today, and we'll have one, two, or three hands on each of these topics to reinforce them. Okay, so let's start with hand number 1. And here we have West opened. By the way, South will always be declare. Last week we had some confusion on the way I did the layout and where the hands were. So this week, South will always be declare, West will always be the opening leader, dummy will always be North. So the bidding has gone 1 club by West, double by North. And by the way, North has an unusual shape. What they would like to do is bid 1 no trump with this hand, right? But they don't have a club stopper, and they have so many points that they need to get into the bidding. So they go ahead and double, even though they only have 2 diamonds in their minor there. East passes, South bids 2 spades, showing 9 to 11 points, not necessarily the 5th spade, but 9 to 11 points. Pass by West, North jumps to 4 spades, because now they know partner's got 9 to 11, they have 16 points, they've got enough for game, but not slam, and it goes all pass. The opening lead is the ace of clubs. And I will tell you that the first 3 tricks go ace of clubs by West, king of clubs by West, queen of clubs by West. And then West switches to the king of diamonds. So what I want to do now is give you 30 seconds to think about everything you know. We've got all different levels on our seminar today. So think about the ideas that you know about. Counting your losers. We're going to be counting losers from South's hand. Okay. Finding the working suit, what the issue of the hand is. That's the working suit. And then any other things that you might know if you've had more advanced classes, any other ideas going on. And I'll give you about 30 seconds, and then we'll come back and I'll talk you through how I would approach analyzing the hand. Okay, so let's start out. I always start out by counting my losers, okay? Well, I've got 3 club losers. Hello, they just took the ace, king, queen of clubs, all right? So I'm booked. But starting from the top, in the spade suit, in South's hand, I've got a couple of losers, but I look to North, and North can cover with the ace, queen of spades. So I have no spade losers. In hearts, I've got several heart losers, but once I look at North's hand, North's ace makes my king good. All right, so I have only 1 heart loser left. In diamonds, I don't have any diamonds. And in clubs, I've lost my 3 clubs. Everyone followed to the clubs, so my 4th club is technically good. Not that it's going to do me any good. Otherwise, I could rough it. So I'm booked, and I have a potential heart loser. So on this particular hand, I would say, okay, the heart suit's my working suit. I have to find the queen of hearts. Now I'd go back to the bidding. And I would note that West opened 1 club and showed up with 3 clubs. Okay, so just a good general rule you can jot down. Anytime a player opens a club or a diamond, for that matter, and shows up with at least 3 of them, they have a balanced hand. Okay, so if West were balanced, okay, they either have to have between 12 to 14, because if they were balanced with 15 to 17, they would have opened 1 no trump, or they have to have 18 or 19. Since West didn't bid again, and we have the majority of the points, it's really hard for West to have 18 or 19 since we have 27 between us. We're going to assume that West has 12 to 14. 12 to 14 high card points. So now we go back to the first 3 tricks. It went ace of clubs, king of clubs, queen of clubs. That's 9 high card points. And then West switched to the king of diamonds. What do we know West has in the king of diamonds? What in the diamond suit, aside from the king? Right. They're showing the queen. It would be very odd, very, very, very odd to just put your king of diamonds out there without having the queen, right? So with 9 points in clubs and 5 points in diamonds, that's 14 points. West can't have any more high card points in their hand. Otherwise, they would have opened one no trump. So oftentimes people think, oh, it's just a guess. I just have to guess who has the queen of hearts in this hand. But logic and counting tell you that 100% East has the queen of hearts. So on this hand, you'd win the ace of diamonds, right? We've lost 3 club tricks. We'd win the ace of diamonds, play 3 rounds of trump, because spades did break 3-1. If they are only 2-2, you could play 2 rounds of trump. Okay, so you pull trump, and then play a low heart to the ace. Always cash out your high honor in case there's a singleton honor somewhere. And leave the jack of hearts out of North's hand and let it finesse around to West. If East covers, then win it, obviously. If East plays low, then play low from your hand into the known West hand that cannot have another high card point. Now, if West opened a club when they should have opened a no trump, there's nothing I can do for you, right? But if you're playing against, you know, people who have bid their hand correctly, this type of analysis works for you. The key is realizing that West has a balanced hand, though. Anytime, again, and I'll state that rule again, anytime that your opponent opens 1 club or 1 diamond and shows up with at least 3 and not 6, I mean, obviously they could have 6, but if everyone follows, right, shows up with only 3 in that suit, then they must be balanced. And then you can take that the step further, that if they were balanced with 15 to 17, they would have opened 1 no. So you will find out that they have 12 to 14 points more times than not when you're a declarer. Why not play the 10 of hearts from North so that if you have to finesse again, you are in the correct hand? You'd lead the jack of hearts from North, jack or 10 of hearts. You would definitely lead low heart to the ace and then jack of hearts and duck it around. So that if East plays low, you can, well, now you don't have a heart loser, right? We only have to take 1 finesse because we have king 9-8 in South's hand. Once we eliminate the losers from South's hand, then we don't care what's going on in North's hand. It's all about South's hand. And so once the jack of hearts wins, then you just play a low heart to your king and you're done. You're all done there. But you definitely lead the jack or the 10 from the dummy. I always, if I want my opponent to cover the honor, I lead the higher honor. Psychologically, it gets them to cover more times than not. And if I don't want them to cover, I lead the lower honor. Now, that's a little tricky since this is dummy and they can see both of them. But for some reason, our minds are more willing to put a queen on a jack than a queen on a 10. So I would lead the jack on that type of hand. So this is a good tip to put away. When you're trying to find a queen of a suit, try counting the opponent's high card points. Another big idea when this is used is when the opponents are past hand and they've shown up with like 11 high card points, right? They can't have the missing queen because they would have opened the bidding. Right? This takes a little bit of time. It doesn't happen on every hand, but having this technique in your toolbox is very useful on the hands where you're trying to find a missing honor. All right, let's try hand number 2. On this hand, South would start with an opening bid of 2 clubs. And on your handout, by the way, you're missing a spade. If you wonder what your 13th card should be, it should be the 7 of spades. So you'll want those that printed off your handout, you'll want to write in the 7 of spades. You have 6 spades, 2 hearts, 2 diamonds, and 3 clubs. All right, so 2 clubs by South, 2 diamonds by North. east and west are passing. 2 spades by south, that's just showing 5 or more spades, and 8.5 tricks. North raises the 3 spades to show at least 3 card support and some type of control, first or second round control. Now, there are all different methods going on in the bidding, right? So however you and your partner would bid to this, I'm just explaining the bidding here for our play discussion. 4 no trump south, if you play key card or you play straight blackwood. 5 spades in either case. 5 spades would show 2 with the queen. If you're playing straight aces, it would just show 2 aces. And that's enough for south to bid 7 spades, right? They've got the ace of hearts in partner's hand, the ace of diamonds in partner's hand, and those playing key card know they have the queen of spades. So the only problem from south's perspective when they bid 7 spades would be the jack of clubs. But there's lots of hope that perhaps north has a queen in one of the red suits that we can throw it away on. Or perhaps the queen of clubs. There's no scientific way of finding out that. So you bid 7 spades, and west leads the queen of diamonds. All right, so it's your play. You're in 7 spades. You can have no losers, right? So let me give you about 30 seconds to look it over, count your losers. We're counting losers from south's hand because that's the long trump hand. And we're going to figure out what our issue is and how we're going to solve it, right? Every bridge hand has an issue, and it's much easier to solve that issue if we figured out what it is to begin with. So 30 seconds, and then we'll talk about it. Starbucks, yeah. Gotta have my Starbucks. What I don't know if there is a Starbucks in India. You guys may have to send some care packages to me. But I'll be drinking a lot of hot tea. Apparently you're not supposed to drink or eat anything over there. So I'm planning on a 3-week diet starting when I land on Friday morning, which will be Thursday night your time. Okay, so let's talk through this hand. We've got some choices, right? Jack of clubs finesse is one that just jumps out at us, right? We could just win the ace, win the diamond, and pull trump and take a finesse and see if it wins, right? That's 50%. What we have here, though, we have another opportunity. We have another chance, okay? And that's in the heart suit. In that heart suit, we have 7 of them. So that means we're missing 6. And the odds are when you're missing an even number of cards in a suit, they break slightly uneven. So when we're missing 6 cards, we can presume that they are 4-2. Now, sometimes they're 3-3 and life is great. Now we have 14 tricks, right? But if they're 4-2, we can take a roughing technique and set up and rough the heart, and set up the 5th heart in the north hand, the 3 of hearts in the north hand, to throw our jack of clubs away, right? That jack of clubs is our issue, is our problem child on this hand. We've got to do something with it. If the hearts turn out to be 5-1 when we're attempting to do this, well, then we fall back on our 50% finesse. But you might as well try out the percentage, right? 4-2 break is about 48% of the time. 3-3 break is 36%. So if you combine those 2 numbers, you've got about an 85% chance of making the slam. Then, based on the heart suit, then if the heart suit doesn't work for you, then you can go ahead and take the club finesse. So it's a good 7 spades. This is the type of grand that I don't mind being in. Anytime the dummy comes down and I have 2 or 3 chances of making the hand, I call that a good contract. especially for those that know how I bid. So I often don't have 2 or 3 ways of making it. I usually have one way of making it, and it either makes or it doesn't. But this hand, we've got 2 or 3. So big idea. This is a big idea. When you are working on a long suit development, this is a long suit development hand. Entries are important. You want to make sure you preserve your entries to the long suit for as long as possible. Okay, so that dictates at trick 1, you would want to win the queen of diamonds with the king of diamonds in South's hand, preserving the ace of diamonds in the long suit development hand. Okay, so that's the first hurdle to get over. You have to win the king of diamonds in South's hand at trick 1. All right, so now we've got 9 trump, right? Life would be great if they were 2-2, but we're planning on them being 3-1 because when there's an even number out, they break slightly uneven. That's that same rule we had on the heart suit, right? So we're assuming it's 3-1, right? So we'll play a couple of rounds of spades, and we'd want to do this out of South's hand because, again, we want to preserve the queen of spades in the north hand as an entry, all right? So we play win the king of diamonds at trick 1, play the ace of spades at trick 2, everybody follows, play the king of spades at trick 3, and I will tell you, West follows, but East shows out, just as we were suspecting that the spades were 3-1. All right, so now we have to go about the heart suit. All right, we still have a trump out, but we need that queen of spades as an entry. So we go ahead at trick 4 and cash the king of hearts. Everybody follows. Low heart to the ace. Everybody follows, which means that at worst, the hearts are 4-2. All right, so we're jumping in our seat right now. We're thinking, all right, as long as we stay on course, we preserve our entries, we rough out the hearts, we're going to ultimately be able to throw our jack of clubs away on the long heart and dummy. All right, so we've gone over to the ace of hearts. We want to trump a heart. All right, we've played king of hearts, ace of hearts, trump a heart. We want to trump it high because remember, West may be out of hearts, right? And they've got the 3rd spade, right? So trump with the jack of spades. Play a low spade back to the queen of spades in North's hand, right? That collects up West's last spade. Trump your 4th heart, right? Now we're playing our 4th round of hearts. We can trump low now because West has no more trumps. And now the key play from trick 1 is we now go back over to that ace of diamonds that we carefully preserved at trick 1 and lead our 5th heart and throw away that jack of clubs. Now our hand has no more losers. We claim. We have the ace king of clubs left and a long trump left. So look for those long suit development hands. They're not every hand, but generally when you've got a 5-card suit in the dummy, that's usually your working suit. That's usually the suit that you want to develop into tricks, right? Especially if you've got 7 of them. It works when you only have 6 of them. Say you had a singleton heart in South's hand and 5 in the dummy, right? So you have 6 between you. That means they have 7. Well, when there's an odd number of cards out, the odds are they break as evenly as possible, which means if there's 7, one opponent's going to have 4, and one opponent's going to have 3, and the 5th card in your 5-card suit is going to become a trick through roughing, by roughing it out, okay? So look for those 5-card suits. Look for those 5-card suits in dummy, and they are oftentimes your working suit and oftentimes your extra trick, either in your game contract or your slam contract, whatever your contract is. It's an extra trick, especially for those that play match points. When you're trying to make an extra trick, you know, those extra tricks at match point are just brutal for your opponents when you find them. So look for those 5-card suits. They will bring home an extra trick way more times than you would suspect, even opposite a singleton. All right, let's go to the next hand here. And on this hand, South opens 1 club, West passes, North bids 1 diamond, East bids a heart, and South bids 3 clubs. All right, South's jump to 3 clubs is showing 17 to 18, and 6 or more clubs. You wouldn't need the 7th club, but 6 or more clubs. And West bids 3 hearts. These pesky opponents are trying to get in the middle of our hand here. North raises to 4 clubs because they haven't talked about their clubs yet. They know they've got 10 clubs between them, right? So they're competing to 4 clubs. East passes and South bids 5 clubs. All right, so now you're in 5 clubs, and you get the 5 of hearts lead. And let me just tell you, underneath the lead box, it says East wins the heart ace and returns a heart. Now, what is your plan? Okay, so it goes heart over to East's ace, and East returns a heart, and it's now your plan. All right, so 30 seconds. Think about your losers, counting losers in South's hand. Find your working suit. Look at your different chances. If you've got different chances going on the hand, what could work for you, right? And then we'll talk about which is the better line of play. Again, this is a hand of chances. And so you've got 2 chances of doing something. Try to find those 2 ideas, and then we'll talk about how to figure out which one is better. All right, counting losers in South's hand, right? Always the trick to counting losers, again, I'll say it all morning long, because counting losers is a different way of thinking about the hand than when we're counting our winners. When we're counting our winners, we're counting in both hands, right? When you're counting losers, you pick one hand and you stick with it, all right? It's generally the long trump hand. So looking at South's hand, we have 2 spade losers in South. We look to North for help, right? North's ace can cover one of those losers, but we still have a spade loser. We have 1 heart loser that they've already taken, right? And it looks like we have 1 diamond loser, right? We have 2 diamond losers in South's hand, but North's king covers 1. So just on the loser count, we have a spade loser, heart loser, diamond loser. That's very unfortunate because we're in 5 clubs and we can only have 2 losers. So we look at our options, right? We're going to rough this heart, right? That's a given. But what are we going to do after that, right? Our first choice, our first option is to lead a spade and take a spade finesse, right? It'll most likely lose, right? And they'll probably return a diamond and we'll have to win it and then take another spade finesse. What this is called, it's called a repeat finesse. What we're doing is we're playing for the king, queen of spades to be split between the 2 hands. In other words, we'll play West for 1 honor and East for 1 honor. That happens, or West with both honors. If West holds both the king and the queen of spades, then we're good because we can repeat finesse them out of the 2nd spade honor. We're always going to have to lose a spade on this hand. It's a matter of if we can set up the 3rd spade and dummy to get rid of our diamond loser. Okay, so that's one option. You might have seen that one. The other option is to play for diamonds to be 3-3. Okay, if diamonds are 3-3, we play ace of diamonds, king of diamonds, and give them a diamond. And our 4th diamond in North's hand could be used to pitch away the spade and never take a spade finesse, right? So we have 2 lines of play. Generally, we've heard that, I've said this earlier this morning, that a 3-3 break is about 36% of the time. It's 35.9 something, but 36% of the time. So about a third of the time. Let's call it a third of the time. The suit that if you're counting on that suit to develop an extra trick, it's only about a third of the time. Whereas a repeat finesse, when you're missing 2 honors and you're planning on repeating the finesse twice, that's about 75% of the time. It's 49% that the honors are split, and then you got another 25% that West has both the king, queen of spades. So combining those opportunities of the king and the queen being split between East and West hand and West holding both of them is about 75%. Okay, so repeat finesse versus 3-3 break, 75% to 36%. It's overwhelmingly right to play for the repeat finesse. Okay, so on this hand, you trump the heart, pull a couple of rounds of hearts, and then lead a spade to the jack. It'll most likely lose to the queen, and they'll come back a diamond. When the ace of diamonds in your hand, so that you can repeat the finesse, right? Always be conscious of your entries. Take and play another spade up to the 10. And if it loses, you go down. That's just how it is. But odds are 75% of the time, you're going to win your 10 of spades, and then on the ace of spades, you pitch away your little losing diamond in South's hand. Okay, any questions on that? You guys are quiet this morning. It's not so important when you're thinking about percentages to know 75% and 36%. I'm not a math person. I'm a logic person. But just tuck in the back of your mind that repeat finesses are pretty much top priority. If you've got a repeat finesse opportunity versus any kind of break, any kind of 4-2 break, 3-3 break, that anything worse than that, right? The repeat finesse is the technique you want to take. That's what you want to take away from this hand. Okay, all the other stuff running around is just technique. So repeat finesse, take that one over any other break. That's what you want to do. All right, next up. Nice calm 1-no, 3-no hand. Here we go. All right, 1-no by south, 3-no by north. And some of you might be asking, well, why didn't North bid Stayman? All right, and one of our general rules we talked about in the first webinar with Bid These Hands With Me is when you're 4-3-3, when you have this ugly duckling shape, you don't Stayman. Because at most, your partnership has 1 doubleton between them. And the whole idea of getting to a 4-4 major fit versus a 3-no fit is for roughing, is for trumping values. So when you don't have a doubleton in your hand, and at most your partner has a doubleton in their hand, right? You see here, partner doesn't even have a doubleton. It's balanced, it's ugly duckling opposite of ugly duckling, right? Then it's easier to take 9 tricks than 10. The benefit of each hand having a doubleton is you can create some extra tricks without the high card points. But on this hand, because you've got 2 balanced hands, you need more high card points to make your hand. So North tries out 3-no. And you get the 7 of hearts lead. And the first 2 tricks, here are your first 2 tricks. It goes 7 of hearts, 2 of hearts. East wins the ace of hearts. You follow with the 5. And East returns the 10 of hearts. Now, since we're in 3-no, some of you may be thinking, well, we've got 9 tricks. Beautiful. But what if we're playing match points and we want 10? Or what if partner hasn't heard about this rule about not Staymaning with a 4-3-3 hand, right? And you ended up in 4 spades. Well, now you've got to find the queen of spades. in either scenario, right? We'd like to take maximum number of tricks whenever we're playing. Even at imps, an extra trick is an extra imp in a lot of cases. So we're counting winners on this hand. We're shifting gears. We're counting winners. We get to count winners in both hands. So let me give you about 30 seconds. Count your winners in the combined hand. And I've already sort of tipped you off. We're looking for the Queen of Spades. But think about the card led, the card played, the card returned. Oh, and by the way, I didn't tell you, on the return of the 10 of hearts, you win the King of Hearts. Declare always wins top of touching. One exception to that, but not on this hand. King of Hearts, and West follows with the 6 of Hearts. All right, so think about everything you know about play of the hand and the clues that you have from the very first tricks. The answer to where the Queen of Spades is found in the first 2 tricks of the heart suit. So 30 seconds. See if you can figure out who's got the Queen of Spades. And when you think you know who has it, think about why. Because we could have just, flip a coin. Either East or West has it. We know that, right? So 50-50 chance of getting it right. But we have more clues based on the 7 of hearts lead and the following of the 6 of hearts with West on the trick 2. All right, so let's, we're working with, this is a vacant spot. Someone said this, law of vacant spaces, right? West, we know, led the 4th best heart, right? Maybe the 7-6 of hearts would be a doubleton, but that's only if you've read that computer-generated defense book and you start trying to find your partner's major, okay? Don't do that. That computer-generated defense book, right? It won all sorts of awards, and the experts were trying to tell the people who award these awards that that's with the computer looking at all 52 cards because they know what to do at trick 2, right? That is not how we want to play bridge. Trying to find suits in partner's hand, right? It has worked for over a century now to lead your 4th best card, right? So we're going to assume West has led the 4th best, and East won the Ace of Hearts and returned the 10 of Hearts. Okay, so it's looking like East has, that could be just a doubleton, right? It could be 3. But then when West follows with the 6 of hearts, we now know West has 5 hearts, right? The 7 was their 4th best, and then they turned up with the 6 just underneath. And we can see the 2, 3, 4, 5 in our 2 hands. So we know that West doesn't have any more than 5. Well, and then that would also mean there'd be 14 hearts in the deck, which would be a problem. Hard enough playing this game with only 13 hearts. You throw a 14th heart in and it's just going to blow everybody's mind. So West, the vacant spot, the law of vacant spot idea is we know 5 of West's cards, which means there are 8 vacant spots in their hand. And in East hand, we know 2 of East hand's cards, the Ace of Hearts and the 10 of Hearts, assuming that hearts are 5-2. And there are 11 vacant spots in East hand. So it's 11 to 8 to play for the Queen of Spades in East hand. Okay, so there's 11 spots for the Queen to be in East hand, and there's only 8 spots for the Queen to be in West hand. So you would win the King of Hearts, playing the higher of touching honors as declare. And technically, you could play 3 rounds of clubs to see if you could get any more filling of the vacant spots. If you did that on this hand, you would find out that East had 3 clubs and West had 3 clubs. So it doesn't give you any more information there. You still have more chances for East to have the Queen of Spades than West. Okay, someone mentioned that East has the Queen of Spades because he led the 10 of Hearts back. Now, you don't want to play suit preference in that kind of situation. When you're returning partner's suit, you're returning current count, okay? You're telling partner that that's either your last card or you have one more card below it. Even if that was your agreement that you played suit preference there, that would not be standard, but if that is your partnership agreement, looking at the King, Jack of Spades in North's hand, you would never want to declare that you've got the Queen of Spades, okay? So in either case, the 10 of Hearts would not be telling us that. We're relying on the law of vacant spaces here. And there's more vacant spaces in East hand, so we would play a low spade to the King, in case there's a singleton queen there, and then the Jack of Spades and run it through East. If East plays low, we play low from South, and we stare at West, and we challenge them to win their Queen of Spades because we did all of this thought process. Now, West could have the Queen of Spades. It's not 100% like our hand number 1 where we counted the high card points, right? That one was 100% who had the Queen of Hearts on the very first hand. On this hand, sometimes West wins that card. But what you're playing is to be with the field, okay? The field, in strong events, the field will be playing the vacant spot. So if the field is playing East for the Queen of Spades, you want to be playing East for the Queen of Spades. At least you'll come out with an average board, okay? If you start skewing the percentages by playing anti-percentage, anti-field, now it's just totally random what your score may be, right? Because you're playing against the field. So on these types of hands, you want to stay with the field. It's sort of like when we were studying for not the LSAT, the bar exam, the law bar exam. They're like, okay, you have to take the bar exam. You have to take the bar review course because everyone's going to get the certain number of answers right, and they're all going to miss the other questions, the same questions, right? Because everyone goes through that bar exam review course and they learn the same information. So you've got to learn the same information so you get the same questions right and the same questions wrong, and you're with the field, right? I mean, I didn't believe it until I went through it, and of course everybody gets the same answers right and the same answers wrong, and it's based on which review course they took and what they taught in that review course for that particular exam. It's all a game. It's all a game. But it's the same at the bridge table. You want to be with the field when you're playing your declare hands, right? And playing for the vacant spaces is how you stay with the field. Okay. So that was a lot there, but just the idea of, okay, there are vacant spaces in my opponent's hands. A big time to use a vacant space is when your opponent has preempted, like showing 6 cards in a suit or 7 cards in a suit or 8 cards in the suit, right? Now they have 4 or 5 or 6 vacant spots, and it becomes overwhelming to play the other person for that missing card, right? So preempts are a good time to have that vacant spot idea jump into your mind. All right. Let's try hand number 5 here. A preemptive hand. Wouldn't you know that comes up? All right. South opens 3 hearts. West passes and North bids 4 hearts. And East sticks a double in. He says, I don't think, actually that double is cooperative. The double says, partner, do the right thing. I love cooperative doubles. I love to make them. I don't love them when partner makes them because now I got to do the right thing. When I make the do the right thing double, partner has to do the right thing, and I'm off the hook. But it pretty much says, okay, partner, if you're a balanced hand, you don't have any long suits, then I have enough power over here to defend 4 hearts. I'm not saying I have trump. I'm just saying I've got aces and kings. If you've got a long suit, then I want you to go ahead and pull my double to either 4 spades or sometimes 5 of a minor if you've got 6 or 7 of them. But otherwise, let's just pass and defend this. And that's exactly what West does on this hand. All right. So we get the 10 of spades lead, right? And dummy comes down. And the first three tricks, East cashes the ace, king, queen of spades. Ace, king, queen of spades. So we've lost our three tricks we can lose. And returns it says the 5 of hearts, but we have the 5 of hearts. So returns the 4 of hearts. Sorry about that one. Returns the 4 of hearts, and which is trump, right? So they're just getting out of their hand. Remember, East is the one that doubled, and they've shown up with the ace, king, queen of spades. So let me give you about 30 seconds, and you're booked, and you've got to figure out how you're going to play those minors. Okay, that's going to be your issue here. So 30 seconds, make your line of play, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Yeah, when I say you're booked, it means that you've lost all the tricks you can afford to lose. Yeah, that's a slang term. And anytime I say something like that, especially when I'm at a tournament and I'm in the middle of playing, the slang will be flying. Okay, next week when I'm doing this from India, if I start speaking a language you've never heard, no, I'm not taking up any foreign language, but a slang language of bridge, just ask me. If I say, like, booked is a slang way of saying you've lost all the tricks you can possibly, that you can afford to lose. Yeah. Because I tend to get into that lingo kind of thing when I'm playing in a tournament, especially at the Worlds, because it's nonstop bridge. It's full immersion bridge. Oh, and I'm also going to send you guys links on how you can watch the bridge. And I'll be giving you updates, like I said, in the blog and things like that. The 10.5-hour time zone is going to be a little crazy. You'll have to be up in the middle of the night to actually watch us play. But when you wake up in the morning, we'll be done with the day of play. So that'll be good, and you can come on and see the results and see how all of our USA teams are doing. All right, so we have choices. That's one of our ideas today. We have choices, right? We could take a club finesse, right? And now we're back to 50-50, right? It's actually less than 50-50 now because remember, East doubled. So it's very likely that East has the king of clubs, right? They've shown up with 9 points, but they made a cooperative double of 4 hearts. So they've got a good medium plus kind of hand, like 17 plus point hand. They wouldn't be doing that with just a minimum opening hand. The other idea is we could take a diamond finesse and just, if it wins, discard a club. But again, very likely that East has the king of diamonds. Okay. So this is one of the topics I said, a choice of 2 kings, which finesse to take. All right. What you do when you've got a situation where you could take a finesse for a king in one suit or a finesse for a king in another suit is you look for a singleton opposite one of those finesses. Okay, so say you had a singleton club, then you could take a roughing finesse against East. Play a low club to the ace, queen of clubs, wait for East to play. If they ducked, then throw a diamond away. If they play the king, then rough it and then go back and throw your diamond on the jack of clubs. Meaning if South's minors were reversed, if you had 2 diamonds in 1 club. But in this case, we have 1 diamond and 2 clubs. So what we'd want to do is we're playing East to have the king, and even if West has the king, what we need is the king to be third. We need the king to have 2 little ones, right? Exactly. So play the 10 of spades lead, 3 spades, and they return a heart. So we win our heart. We've got 10 trump between us, right? So we could play 1 more heart just to full trump, then play a low diamond to the ace, Actually, we won't play second. Yeah, we could. We could play a second heart. It's not going to cost us. Sometimes entries are important. Low diamond to the ace, ruff a diamond, right? We could play another heart over, ruff a diamond. And on this hand, on the third round of diamonds, East king of diamonds actually pops up. Okay, they're balanced. That's why they made their double, right? They didn't have a long suit of their own. And they had shown up with 3 spades. Now they've shown up with 3 diamonds. And now you have your queen of diamonds, which is good now to throw your little 2 of clubs away. Okay, so on this hand, instead of taking a finesse that is pretty much known to fail, try roughing out the king in the suit that you've got the singleton in. Okay, so that's the idea. When you've got 2 kings to finesse for, see if one of the suits has a singleton and try roughing that king out first. And if it doesn't work, then go back to taking your finesse that you pretty much think is going to fail anyway. But it's all you got left now. There's no in play on this hand because you're booked, right? You've already lost 3 spades. If you throw East in to get them to lead a club or a diamond, you're down 1, right? So that's not an option on this hand. A lot of times it works when you're missing a queen and you're trying to find 2 queens. The same idea. If you have the ace king of a suit opposite a doubleton, try roughing out. Say you have ace king jack 4th. Try roughing out that queen of diamonds 3rd so that your jack is good to throw away the other suit. So I guess general rule is when you've got 2 honors to finesse for, if you can rough out for 1 suit, try roughing out one of the honors first. And then if that doesn't work, fall back on a finesse. Okay. Any questions? We're going to take a break right at the top of the hour. We'll do one more hand here. And then we'll take about a 5-minute break. And I'll answer any questions you guys might have during that time. All right. Hand number 6. North opens 1 club. It goes pass. South bids 1 spade. Pass. North bids 2 spades. And pass. And South bids 4 spades. All right. So very simple auction. 1 club, 1 spade, 2 spades, 4 spades. And we get the 3 of diamonds lead. 3 of diamonds opening lead. And it's your play. So start from the beginning. We're counting losers from South's hand. Count your losers. Figure out what your problem suit is. That's pretty obvious on this hand. And then think about the options. What options you have on this one. This one's a little bit tricky to think about, but it's fun. It's one of the funner techniques that you have because you get to punish your opponent. All right, so 30 seconds, and then we'll talk about it. All right, here we go. We got the 3 of diamonds lead. And counting losers, we don't have any spade losers. Why didn't North say 3 spades? 4, 5, 14, 15. Well, 3 spades would show about 17 to 18 points. And we don't quite have that. We've got 15 with counting our short points. So that's why North only said 2 spades. Okay. Counting our losers, no spades in the South hand, no spade losers. In hearts, we've got 3. If we have to lead that heart suit, we've got 3 heart tricks for heart losers for sure. Not for sure. I say for sure. Percentage-wise, we have 3 heart tricks. The ace, king of hearts could be in the same hand, but that's not percentage-wise, okay? And then you have to guess which hand it's in. So it's even less of a chance. We may or may not have a diamond loser. We got the 3 of diamonds lead, so it's possible that they are leading from the king. And then we have no club losers, okay? So 3 heart losers, potential diamond loser, we're long losers, all right? On this particular hand, we actually have the perfect layout for what's called a strip in play, where we can strip the hand out and in play our opponent and make them lead hearts, right? If we can make our opponent lead that heart suit, then we're going to get out for only 2 hearts. Can you see that? If they have to lead, let's say East leads a low heart. South can play low from their hand. East would play 3rd hand high, and North would play low, right? East would play the ace or the king, whatever honor they had. If West led a low heart, then we play low from North's hand. East would have to play their ace or their king, and South would play low from their hand. So in either scenario, we could use our other honor to force out the ace, like use the queen of hearts to force out the ace if the king won the first trick, and our jack would cover our 3rd loser, right? So if we can force the opponent to lead hearts, we're going to make this hand because we'll only have 2 losers in the heart suit, right? But to do that, we have to have an exit card. We have to have a card to force the opponents in after we strip the hand out, right? So on this hand, we'd actually forego the diamond finesse, which is only 50%, right? 50% versus 100%, we're going to go with the 100%, right? 100% is forcing the opponent to lead a heart, all right? So when the ace of diamonds at trick 1, play a couple of rounds of trump, maybe a 3rd round. We have 9 trump, so we may have to play 3 rounds of trump. Then cash off your clubs, right? Cash king of clubs, queen of clubs, low club. Or actually, you'd want to play ace of clubs, club to the king, queen of clubs. So you're in North's hand. And then lead a low diamond up towards the queen, okay? Now, either opponent that wins the queen of diamonds has some bad choices, right? They're out of spades because you pulled trump. They could lead diamonds, but you're out of diamonds in both hands, right? If they lead diamonds, you're going to get to discard a heart out of your hand, out of South's hand, and trump in North's hand. They could lead a club, but again, you're out of clubs because you carefully stripped those out of your hand. So if they lead a club, you trump in North's hand and discard out of South's hand, right? Their other option, since those 2 don't look so good, is to lead a heart. And that's exactly what we wanted them to do. It's a 0-0 win for East or West. Whoever wins the king of diamonds has to let us make the hand. We will be down to only 2 heart losers, whether they give us a slough and a rough or whether they lead a heart. By the way, as defender, when a declarer does this to you, what you want to do is give them a slough and a rough, because if they've accidentally in-played you, then they won't know where to take their discard, okay? When you've in-played your opponent and they give you a slough and a rough, you need to take the discard out of the shorter never ever side, okay? In this case, we've got 3 hearts in South's hand and 4 hearts in North's hand. So South's hearts would be the shorter never ever suit, okay? So you would always want to take the discard out of South's hand and trump in North's hand on this particular hand, right? So on defense, when you're in-played, right, the declarer has saved that heart suit to the end. That you know they want you to lead it, in other words. Go ahead and give them a slough and a rough, because if they take the discard out of North's hand and rough in South's hand, they're on lead now, and they're back to having to lead the heart suit, which is going to result in 3 heart losers for them, right? 3 heart losers and a diamond, right? So take a look at the whole hand, right? If you looked at the diamond suit in a vacuum with the 3 of diamonds lead, right? If you know, they make those little flashcards for suit combinations, it would tell you to play low at trick 1 and see if your queen wins, right? But looking at the whole hand as a unit, you have to foresee the problem in the heart suit and realize that the diamond suit is your exit suit, okay? In plays can be seen at trick 1, and it's very, very mechanical, very easy to execute once you see it, right? So look for your never ever suit, look for a strip suit, that would be the club suit, look for an exit suit, that's the diamond suit, and look for a trump suit where you can pull trump and still have trump left in both hands, okay? The end play is where you strip the hand and you throw your opponent in at the end of the hand. That's why it's called an end play. And they are forced to give you a trick. You've thrown them in and they are now forced to either give you a slough and a rough or play the suit that will give you a trick in that suit. Okay. I've got some great, there's actually all of these topics I have lessons on. If the in play is particularly interesting to you, I've got a whole series of lessons on in plays on the website, and you can get those and work through the materials and the quizzes and things and ask me questions. But it's a fun technique that is something you can, once you get it, once the light bulb comes on, you can get it at trick 1 and you'll do it every time and you'll be making those extra tricks or making those contracts that people and other people aren't making, because you have to see the whole big picture, on that. All right, any questions on the in play? Someone said explain the in play. Did I explain it okay? Did I answer your question there? Okay, good. All right, I think we're up to our break here. Yeah, and so we'll have a 5-minute break. Go dance around your chair or something like that. And this is just telling you about next week that I'll be doing the webinar from India, assuming all internet connections are working. And it'll be the same time, and we'll be doing the bid these hands with me. So about 5 minutes, and we'll continue our conversation. All right, I think we are ready to get started again. I had a couple of questions during break. One person asked, if we can see you, can I see you? No, I can't see any of you. It's quite strange for me, actually. I'm getting used to the fact that I know there are people out there, but I'm not getting my usual eye contact and body language, and what I'm used to in teaching is going with your reaction to what I'm saying, and changing up or repeating or stating it another way. And I don't have those cues on this webinar uh, type of thing, so it's very unusual for me. So I encourage you guys to comment and ask questions and say hi every once in a while, just so I know you're getting it, because it's strange for me not to have those cues, and knowing that I'm making sense to you, or if I need to state it another way. I mean, if some hand is just like total Greek to you, it's probably total Greek to others. So raise your, or speak to me. Say this is total Greek. Let's try this another way, because we all think differently. So we need to, sometimes just stating it from a different direction makes a lot of sense to a lot of people. Another question we had is, what's the rule between an opening hand and a preempt? The general rule is a high card point, and you guys know I'm not big on high card point rules, but when you're trying to decide whether to preempt or open a hand, if you have 9 high card points or less, then you want to preempt that hand. If you've got a 10 high card point hand, then you go ahead and open it. That's the difference between a preempt and an opening. Okay. Let's continue along our way here. Hand number 7. And North opens 1 club, East bids 1 diamond, South bids 1 heart. And for those that play negative doubles, by the way, just to reinforce this idea, this is the one auction, 1 club, 1 diamond, where 1 heart doesn't promise 5. Okay, any other combination of 1 club, 1 heart, 1 club, 1 spade, right? 1 diamond, 1 heart. Bidding the major there would show a 5 card suit. But in this one auction, 1 club, 1 diamond, double would promise both majors, 4-4 and both majors. So sometimes we are forced to bid a heart here with only 4. We've got a 5th one here, but I like to reinforce that one because it doesn't come up very often. It's an exception to the rule when you're playing negative doubles. All right, so a club, diamond, 1 heart by South, West passes, North bids a spade, East passes, South bids 1 no. Some of you might think, oh, well, why aren't I bidding 2 hearts? Why don't I want to show my 5th heart? You can't show your 5th heart because 2 hearts would show 6 in this case. Anytime opener or responder rebids their original suit, they're promising 6. Exceptions come when the opponents are in our auction. But when there's no opponent, well, in this particular case, we have an opponent in our auction, but we aren't going to be bidding no trump. In this case, 2 hearts would be showing 6. So South bids 1 no, promising a stopper in diamonds and a balanced hand, less than 4 spades. Okay, and then North raises the 3 no. All right. I like to explain the bidding just so we're all on the same wavelength, because I don't want you distracted about, well, I would have bid this with this hand, I would have bid this with this hand, when we're trying to focus on the play of the hand. But if you have questions about the bidding, go ahead and throw them out there, because it's an all-around kind of game. You've got to have bidding, you got to have your play, you got to have your defense going on. All right. We get the 3 of diamonds lead. That's a big surprise, right? East bid diamond. West is alive and functioning. They have a pulse and they have a diamond. So we get the 3 of diamonds lead, and it goes low diamond, and East sticks in the Jack of diamonds, and you're forced to win your king. Okay, there's no ducking play here. If you duck, then you're going to lose your 5 diamond tricks. So you win your king of diamonds, and it's your play. You have some options. Once again, we're in no trump, so we're counting winners. All right, and so let me give you 30 seconds. Count your winners. Find your choices. Find your options. There's a couple of chances, and decide which line you would take, and then we'll go over the hand and talk about which might be the better line of play. All right, so 30 seconds, get your thoughts together, and then we'll talk about it. Okay. Here we have counting winners. We have one spade trick, one sure spade trick. Okay, there are 2 different types of winners. There's sure tricks and potential tricks. We have one sure spade trick, right? To get another spade trick, we may have to give up the lead. In hearts, we have no sure heart winners, right? Because to get a heart trick, we have to give up the lead. Diamonds, we got our 1 diamond. So we're up to two winners so far, a spade and a diamond. And then, thank goodness for the club suit, we have 4 clubs, right? So we're up to 6 tricks, and our goal is 9. We need 9 tricks. The question on the table is, would South count the king and 1 diamond as a stopper if West had bid diamonds? And the answer would be yes, assuming South was playing the no trump, because West would be leading into the king of diamonds. So yes, you'd still bid no trump even if West had bid no trump. Had bid diamonds, excuse me. Okay, in the scheme of things, if we lead a heart, either opponent can win the ace and then lead a diamond over to East, and East will take at least 4 diamonds because they showed us 5 in the bidding, and the ace of hearts. So we're down 1 if we do that. Our other option is to take a spade finesse. Well, at least we have a chance of the king of spades being in West's hand, right? So we've gone from 0% playing to knock out the ace of hearts to get 3 heart tricks to 50% that the king of spades is on side, right? Now, it doesn't feel good because East is the one that showed us points. So it feels like maybe the king of spades is offside as well. But the ace of hearts it doesn't matter who has the ace of hearts. We're going down, right? Unless we can sneak 3 heart tricks by without the opponent taking their ace. Now that would be, you should take those opponents to dinner if they duck their ace 3 times. But, you know, that's just a no play, right? So in the spade suit, you'd want to take the spade finesse. At least it gives you a 50-50 shot of making it. But the interesting part about this hand, the reason I picked this hand, is because how you have to play the spade suit, right? Take a look at the entries in South's hand. We've just won the king of diamonds. Do we have any other entry to South's hand? I mean, unless we can sneak a heart by, right? We have no way back to South's hand. If we were to lead, say, the 2 of spades to the jack of spades, right? And it wins. We're excited. And then we realize, oh no, we can't get back to South's hand to take another spade finesse, right? Well, say we lead the queen of spades and it wins, right? We play low. And then we play the 9 of spades, and we have to overtake with the 10, right? And it wins. But now we realize we need to take a 3rd spade finesse, and we've taken ourselves over to North's hand because the 9 was overtaken with the 10, right? We have no way back to South's hand again. All right, so the correct, it's called an intra finesse. The correct play on this hand, believe it or not, you guys are gonna have to write this one down. I love these plays when they come up. You don't see them much in play, but when they come up, they're beautiful. What you have to play at trick 2, right? We've won the king of diamonds at trick 1. At trick 2, you lead the 9 of spades. You lead the 9 of spades. West plays low, you play the 6. At trick 3, lead the queen of spades. West plays low, you play the 10 underneath the queen. Notice you're still in South's hand to take a 3rd finesse, right? That's looking ahead, right? You might have gotten, I think a lot of you probably got, okay, I need to take a spade finesse, but realizing you needed 3 spade tricks, right? We had 4 spade tricks, I'm sorry. We had 4 clubs and a diamond is 5, right? We needed 4 spade winners on this hand, right? The only way to get 4 spade winners is to finesse through West 3 times. Well, assuming West has the king. We have to have the king of spades on side. If East has the king of spades, we're going down, right? End of discussion. Assuming West has the king of spades, we have to retain the entry in South's hand by very carefully leading the 9 of spades the first time and putting the 6 underneath, playing the queen of spades and putting the 10 underneath, so that we are still in South's hand to lead the 2 of spades over to the jack. That's our 3rd spade trick, and then the ace of spades is our 4th spade trick, making 3 no. So take a look at that holding on your handout. Write down this. Another common one is what I'm trying to tell you is if you have, say, North had the ace, queen, 10, 2, opposite jack, 9, 3. That would be another one where you need to lead the 9 and play a little card from North's hand. Then the jack and put the 10 underneath, and then you have your little card still in South's hand to lead up to the queen for the 3rd round, right? So ace, queen, 10x, opposite jack, 9x would be another example hand of this. Keep those two, sort of take a snapshot picture of those two types of holdings and have a little bell go off that, oh wow, I need to pay attention to retaining the lead in South's hand. This is when you don't have any other entries to South's hand, right? Life is good when we have entries to South's hand. You can play this any combination you want. It's when South doesn't have the entries that you have to retain the entries inside the spade suit itself, the working suit itself. It's spades here. It could be any suit, but those 2 combinations. Sit up in your chair and go, okay, wait a second. I need to make sure I keep the lead over here. How can I play my spot cards and my honor cards underneath each other so that I retain the lead in the correct hand for the finesse? All right. I had one bidding question on this. When I made the statement that when opener or responder rebids their suit, it promises 6. And the question was, is that also in a minor? And the answer is yes, that's still in a minor, because if you're 5-3-3-2, right, you just simply rebid no trump. On occasion, like in this particular auction, let's say North had a 5th club and didn't have a diamond stopper, right? Had 1 less spade and a 5th club, right? Move the 6 of spades over to the club holding in North's hand on this hand. So you're 3-2-3-5, right? You open a club, you hear a diamond overcall, your partner bids a heart, pass. You normally rebid 1 no to show a balanced hand, right? 3, 2, 3, 5. But since the diamond bid has gotten in your way, you can't rebid a no trump because you would be promising the stopper, right? And you don't have a diamond stopper. On that particular auction with that hand, you could go ahead and rebid 2 clubs, and it is suspect. Partner's not going to hold your feet to the fire and say you are supposed to have 6, right? That's in non-competition. It promises, guarantees 6 in non-competition because you don't have a stopper issue. When the opponents have bid a suit, now the rebid of the original suit could be suspect when you don't have a stopper in the overcalled suit. Okay, so non-competition, yes, guarantees whether it's a minor or a major. When there's competition, now everything is a little suspect because you have to have that stopper. You're promising that stopper. A couple of comments that have come through. Yeah, that's important. Why South should not cover the King of Spades. From a defensive perspective, I mean West should not cover with the King of Spades. Excuse me. From a defensive perspective, West holding the King of Spades, if the Queen of Spades was let out, right, looking at the Ace Jack 10, there would be nothing to promote there. Okay, so you wouldn't cover there. Leading the 9 out, you might think that your partner, from West perspective, that East has the Queen, so you wouldn't want to cover there. You would just let them finesse into your partner's Queen, right? So in both cases, yeah, it does illustrate why West should not cover if the Queen is led, because it certainly helps South out with transportation. That was South's problem on this hand, is the transportation. The entries. That's one of our themes today is entry management. This was an entry management hand. All right, I think I've got all the questions answered there. Let's try the next hand. Okay, North opens 1 club, East bids a heart, South bids a spade. This particular auction guarantees at least 5 spades. West passes, North bids 1 no trump, East bids 2 hearts, and South bids 4 spades. South is tired of East messing with them, so he just says, okay, 4 spades in your face, come and get me, right? And West leads the 10 of hearts. All right, so here's the first few tricks, okay? Visualize this happening. 10 of hearts led, you play low from North because you know the ace is over there. And it goes a high spot card, but the 10 wins the trick, okay? So 10, 7, 8 of hearts, and you play your 3. And then West follows with the 2 of hearts, and you play your 9. East wins the 10, or excuse me, wins the Jack, and you follow with your 5. Now the third round, East cashes the ace of hearts. And now it's your play. What's your plan? What's going on in the heart suit based on the bidding, the opening lead, how the first 3 tricks went, right? It went 10 of hearts, small, small, small. Small heart, small, Jack, small. And now the ace of hearts is gobbling up the king and the dummy, okay? And it's your hand to play. So what do we think is going on in the heart suit? How many hearts does West have? How many hearts did West start with, I guess is the question. Yeah, it looks like West started with 2 hearts, right? If West had 10 small, small, right, they would have started with a low heart. They led the 10 of hearts and they followed with the 2 of hearts. So that very much looks like a doubleton. So it looks like East has 6 hearts, North has 3, South has 2, and West has 2. Reading the spot cards by your opponents will tell you a lot about what cards they have left in that hand. If for some reason they have an agreement they'd lead the 10 of hearts and they had 2 cards remaining, they would play the higher of the 2 cards left when they were returning the suit. So it's a big tell on this hand when it goes 10 of hearts, 2 of hearts. So we know out of all of that discussion that West is going to be over trumping us. All right, so we have to decide, do we want to rough high? Do we want to rough low? Do we want to discard, right? Those are our choices here. We're missing the king of spades, right? So we've lost 2 heart tricks. Let's do a count our losers here. We've lost 2 heart tricks, right? And if we get over roughed here, that's a 3rd heart. That's a 3rd trick, you know, right? So 2 hearts and a heart rough. And then look at that diamond suit. We still have a diamond loser, right? And we're in 4 spades. So that's too many losers, okay? So when you've got this situation where you know there's a looming over rough to you, right? You can feel it. They're like oozing. They're waiting to over trump you, right? Look to see if you have any other losers. This is a loser on loser hand, okay? Look to see if you have any other losers that you can actually discard on this hand and not give them the over rough. In other words, lose the trick, but combine your losers, compress your losers, 2 losers, the over rough and the diamond loser into 1 loser, throwing your diamond loser on the same trick that you might have gotten over roughed, right? If you do that and they continue yet another heart, you can now trump in North's hand, right? They can't do it to you again, right? So on this hand, it's actually correct to throw the 5 of diamonds on the ace of hearts. West gets to discard, that's fine. But what happens is the hearts are now frozen. East can't continue hearts. East can switch to a diamond, East can switch to a trump, East can switch to a club. But on all of those switches, you can now gain control, right? So let's play the hand out the rest of the time. Ace of hearts, 5 of diamonds, discarding our loser on loser. It's a trick compression play, loser on loser. Now, just an FYI, if you don't have any losers, then go ahead and trump high and see what you can do, right? But if you've got a loser that there's nothing you can do with, go ahead and dump it in a situation where you're not, when you know you're going to be, there's a chance that you'll be over roughed, right? On this case, let's say they switch to a club. So you win your ace of clubs, and now you can take a spade finesse, right? It's okay if it loses because, again, they can't do anything to you. They can continue clubs, they can continue diamonds, they can lead a spade back, but you don't lose the extra spade trick, okay? If you were to trump, let me just tell you the scenario. Say ace of hearts and you play the queen of spades and they over trump with the king of spades. Now it turns out that East has 4 spades to the 8 and you can't, or West has 4 spades to the 8 and you can't get them. It actually sets a trump trick up for them. But in this case, the key is throwing the diamond away so that you can gain control of the hand and take the spade finesse. By the way, here's a good rule on when to take a finesse missing the king, okay? You want to finesse for the king until you have 11 trump. At the point that you have 11 trump, then you play for the drop, okay? You finesse for the king up through 10 card holding. That's what we have here. You've got 10 trump. And so you would definitely take a finesse here. If you had an 11th trump, then you'd play for the drop. You'd play for the singleton king of spades to drop. Our general rule in division of suits is when you're missing an even number, they break slightly uneven. The one exception is when you're missing 2. which is an even number, the odds are they're actually going to break 1-1. That's the one exception to that general rule. And that's why with 11 trump, you'd actually play for the drop, because the odds are that they are 1-1. Okay, so loser on loser. If you feel an overruff coming, look to see if you've got any kind of loser that you can throw away and just ditch it. Just take your losses early, which would be the 5 of diamonds here. All right, loser on loser plays are very cool. What's going to happen to you, just warn your partners, is whenever you, and I see this happen a lot, is you start finding losers to discard in situations where you shouldn't be discarding. But the loser on loser play is a very cool technique. It's like the in play. It actually comes up quite often. Like I said, I've got lessons on that as well on the website. But recognizing when a loser on loser play applies will get those extra tricks for you at match points, and will have you making those hands at imps. And it's something that you can see it. You know, it's not a counting thing. It's not a, you know, squeezes are hard because you have to count and you have to know where cards are and that kind of thing. In plays and loser on loser plays are things that you can actually see between your two hands. You don't really need to know what's going on in the opponent's hand for the mechanism to work. So they're cool little techniques to add to what you're doing. All right, let's try a new one. Preempt hand. All right, 2 hearts by south, 4 hearts by north, and east is not doubling on this hand. That's because north has such a good hand. All right, so we get the ace of spades lead, and it goes low, 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 and west switches to the king of clubs at trick 2. All right, so make your plan. We can have 3 losers. We're counting losers in south's hand, and I'll give you about 30 seconds to figure out the clues and your plan, and then we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in about 15 seconds. All right, so I would be looking at this hand. I'd be counting my losers in south's hand because that's the long trump hand. So I have 1 spade loser. I have no heart losers. Looking at dummy. Dummy's ace queen takes care of my holes. And I have a diamond loser, right? I have 3 diamond losers in south's hand, but I've got the ace king in north's hand. So I've got a diamond loser, a spade loser, and it looks like 2 club losers. And they've switched to the king of clubs. So they're taking out my ace of clubs, right? All right, so 2 clubs, 1 diamond, and 1 spade. How does it always seem that I'm always 1 trick too long on the loser count? I guess we wouldn't be talking about them if I had them all. All right, so options. What are some of our options? What could we do on this hand? We've got to eliminate 1 loser, right? That's how I would approach it. I've got to eliminate 1 loser. So where am I going to do that? What are my options here? What are you thinking about? Developing a spade trick. That's possible, and then we could pitch a diamond away and not have to take a diamond finesse, right? The other option would be to take a diamond finesse, all right? Or dump with club on a spade. You would most likely have to dump a diamond because What's happened now with the king of clubs lead, at the beginning of the hand, we had two, they're fast losers and slow losers. At the beginning of the hand, we had two slow club losers because we had the ace of clubs. But now that West has switched to the king of clubs at trick 2, we're going to have to win our ace of clubs. And when we give up a spade trick, they're going to be able to take their clubs right away. So our two club losers turn into two fast losers. Right. So what we're going to do, exactly, now we're getting it. You guys are talking to me now. This is good. We're going to win our ace of clubs, and we're going to pull a couple of rounds of trump and end up in dummy so that we can lead the queen of spades off the dummy. And Issa's going to play low, and we can pitch a club away, right? Pitch a club, just a loser on loser, right? We know West is going to win the king of spades. They led the ace of spades, right? And they're going to win it. But again, we're discarding a loser on loser. And what's going to happen is West will get to cash their club, right? But when they try to cash their second club winner, we're going to be able to trump it, go back over the board with a diamond, and on the jack of spades, actually, we've already played the ace, king of spades. Ace of spades. Yeah, on the jack of spades, we now get to pitch our diamond loser away. So we end up making extra tricks. We end up having two spade losers and a club loser instead of one spade loser, two club losers, and a diamond, right? It's sort of like a shell game when you're doing these loser on losers. But because we pitched a club on the spade and set up a spade trick, an additional spade trick on, by doing that, right, we got to get rid of our diamond loser. If we simply trump out the spades, which we could do, we are still left with our two clubs and our diamond loser, right? So we give West their king of spades, and they think that's a good thing until they realize what you've done is you've gotten rid of two losers, a club and a diamond, by giving him one winner. We love 2-for-1s, right? Especially when we're getting them. We don't like 2-for-1s when the defenders get them. But as declarer, we love 2-for-1s. We got rid of a club and a diamond by setting up our jack of spades, sacrificing our queen of spades, right? And giving West their king of spades that they weren't entitled to, but since we gave it to them, we were able to get rid of two losers, right? So here's another example of a loser on loser. Where you can, it's trick compression. You're getting rid of those losers, and in this case, we're actually giving them a trick, but we're giving one and we're gaining two. So instead of having 4 losers, we get to 3 losers and we make our contract. One of the questions was, why didn't North, back to the bidding, why didn't North, oh, that was on the previous hand. Oh, I should have gone back to that. One of the hands was on the previous hand was, why didn't North raise the spade suit? Let's go back to that real quick, because that's a good question. The question was, on this auction, when a club, a heart, a spade by south, pass. And the question was, why didn't North raise to 2 spades? Because they had 3 spades and they knew partner had at least 5. This is a judgment bid. I would, since I have the heart stopper, I would, and I'm 4-3-3, I would rather slow partner down because my king of hearts is sort of wasted and I have a minimum opening hand. And 1 no trump to partner is not as exciting as 2 spades is. Okay, when I raise partner 2 spades, sometimes they bid more aggressively. And then I don't really have the hand. I do have 3 spades with them, but I'm 4-3-3 and I have a king of hearts, right? And so by bidding a no trump, they know I have 2 spades, but they don't get so excited. I mean, partner still bid 4 spades over 1 no trump. We can only imagine what partner would have bid if I had bid 2 spades with North's hand. So 2 spades would not be wrong, okay? Because you know partner has 5 spades. What I would say to you is that with 4-3-3, to go ahead and just bid a no trump to slow partner down. And then if they continue to bid spades, well, then you can go ahead and raise them. But it's purely a judgment bid, why I had North bid a no trump versus 2 spades on the hand. Right. Well, one club, the question is, one club rebidding one no is 13 to 14 points. It's like a good 12 to 14, yeah, on the bidding scale. But so would be a club, a heart, a spade past 2 spades. Well, you would be showing like 12 to 16. So it's a wider range. So the one no would be a more limiting bid for sure. Yeah, so that was a good question. It's just the judgment bid, why I bid one no instead of 2 spades on that one. All right. Hand number 10. And South opens 2 clubs. North bids 2 diamonds. And again, you guys have your own systems out there, what you may or may not bid with this hand. I generally always bid 2 diamonds over my partner's 2 club bid, no matter what I have, so that I don't get in the way of partner. I don't want to bid suits and then take up space from partner, because partner's the big hand. So bidding 2 diamonds just gives South space to describe their hand out. In this case, South would bid 2 no, showing 22 to 24, and North would bid 3 no. And we get the 2 of spades lead. And the very first trick goes 2 of spades, 10 of spades by North, 6 of spades by East, and it's your play. All right, so 30 seconds. And we'll talk about it. Gather you need 9 tricks, count your winners, find your chances. There's several chances on this hand. This is another chance hand. And we'll work through the different options and come up with the best plan. All right, so what's going on in this hand? The first trick went 2 of spades, 10 of spades from the dummy, 6 of spades, and now it's your play. How many winners do we have? How many winners do we have in hearts? Right, we've got 3 winners in hearts. We might have a 4th winner if hearts were 3-3. But as we've discussed previously, that 3-3 break is the third of the time, like 36% of the time, right? We've got 3 hearts and 2 diamonds. Diamonds might break 3-3, and we actually get a 3rd diamond with the 4th diamond in North's hand, but again, that's not very likely. So we have 3 for sure hearts, 2 for sure diamonds is 5, 1 club is 6, 2 spades is 8, and we need a 9th trick. So we could play for hearts to be 3-3 for our 9th trick. We could play for diamonds to be 3-3 for our 9th trick. Or, well, what happens if we play low here? Yeah, it's a transportation hand. You're right. If we played low and won our 10 of spades, we could never get back to our ace of spades, right? The opponents have given us 3 spade tricks, but we can't get to them. We can't. If we play the 10 of spades and play low at trick 1, we can come over to our king of spades, but our ace of spades is stranded, right? So we're going to have to win the king of spades to keep our options open, right? We might not necessarily take a spade trick, but spade finesse. But there's some telling things going on, right? The 2 of spades was led, right? So that's generally 4th best from your longest and strongest. The only honor we're missing is the queen. If you had 4 to the 9, you'd actually lead second highest from that. So it's almost it's pretty up there. It's pretty in the 90 percentiles that 2 of spades is promising the queen. The other tell would be that East played the 6 of spades at trick 1. Okay, if East held the queen of spades on this hand, they would have played third hand high, playing their partner for the king. Okay, so by the 2 of spades lead, pretty much promising an honor versus no trump, and the 6 of spades being played at trick 1, it's like a big neon light holding over West's hand. I have the queen of spades. I have the queen of spades. So if we overtake the 10 of spades with the king of spades at trick 1, we can then take a finesse at trick 2 up to the jack of spades. Okay? If you wanted to, you could cash off 3 hearts to see if your hearts were 3-3. Or you could cash off play ace king and a diamond to see if diamonds were 3-3, right? And then later on take your spade finesse. If diamonds turn out to be 3-3, now you make even more tricks, right? So if you're playing match points, that would be the way to go. If you're playing imps, you just want to make your hand on this hand. So overtake the 10 of spades with the king of spades. Play ace king and a diamond, or you could duck a diamond if you wanted. And then they're probably going to switch to clubs at that point. They're going to catch on that there's a problem in the spade suit. If they don't, they should. Maybe they just lead a spade back at that point, and then you take your spade finesse for your 9th trick. Then, depending on how the hearts break, you might get an extra trick there. But don't go counting on 3-3 breaks, in other words. 3-3 breaks are your desperation play. Okay, when you're counting on a 3-3 break to make the hand, it probably wasn't a very good contract, which is what I'm usually stuck in. 3-3 breaks and I are best friends, I'm telling you. But they don't work so often, so so don't go plan on them. If you have another option, take it. And on this hand, it would be overtaking the 10 of spades and finessing the jack of spades at trick 2, and then taking your ace before you leave the dummy. Don't go taking your finesse and forget to take your ace, because the opponents are not going to lead another spade for you, and you will be very sad if you go home without your ace of spades. All right, this one's a tough one because we look at gift horse in the mouth kind of thing, that the Romans bearing gifts or the Greeks bearing gifts, whatever, that big horse going through the gate, right? That 10 of spades looks like a gift, but it's actually a mirage. And you want to slow down at trick 1 and count your tricks and realize that you need to overtake so that you can finesse the ace jack of spades on the way back. This is a careful play hand, right? A lot of us would just win the 10 of spades and go, oh, that's our 9th trick. And then now it's too late. Then we realize, oh, no, it's not our 9th trick because we can't get to it, right? So this is an excellent example of a hand where just take a few extra seconds at trick 1 makes big differences on these hands as far as the play is concerned. All right, next hand, number 11. North opens 1 spade. East bids 2 hearts. South bids 3 hearts. Now, though that is I'm sorry, it should be north. South bids 1 spade, excuse me, 2 spades by west, 2 hearts by west. North bids 3 hearts. I have the directions opposite at the top there. Pass 4 spades by south. All right, so we're in 4 spades. West is the one that's bid 2 hearts on the hand. And the opening lead is the ace of hearts. And East follows with the jack of hearts under the ace. So you think shortness is coming there. And then West cashes the king of hearts, and East follows with the 7. Okay, so it's gone ace, king of hearts, and East is high-low. And West leads a third round of hearts. They want their partner. They know you're trumping, right, from a defensive perspective. West knows South is trumping, but wants to trump out the Queen of Hearts. If West leaves the Queen of Hearts in North's hand, that's going to be a discard for you later on. So he's leading a heart so that East will trump, all right? And East, in fact, trumps with the 9 of spades. All right, so 30 seconds. Plan your play. Remembering West overcalled the 2 hearts. All right, so we had an example of this type of hand, which was a loser on loser, and earlier, where you knew that they were going to be over roughing, right? So we found a loser and we discarded. Here's a situation where you are over roughing them, and it's the same idea. If you were to over rough the 9 of spades with the Queen of spades, you have a potential spade loser if spades go 3-1, right? The Jack third of spades becomes a good trick. So in this case, when you are in a situation of over roughing with an honor, right? If you could over rough with a small, they played the 7, you could over rough with the 8, fine. But when the general rule is when you're over roughing when you're in the situation of needing to over rough with their card with an honor, look to see if you have a loser that you can discard on that card, okay? And on this case, they've already taken their 2 heart tricks. We don't have any club losers. We don't have any spade losers. What we do have is that 7 of diamonds loser in our hand. So on the third round of hearts, when East roughs with the 9 of spades, go ahead and discard your 7 of diamonds as a loser on loser play. Now you have 9 trump, they've roughed, that's 10. You're going to be able to control the remaining 3 trumps with your ace, king, queen of spades, no matter how they break, right? If you over rough the 9 of spades with the queen and trumps are 3-1 and West has the Jack third, now you've created the Jack 10 third as it turns out. Now you've created a trump loser, and you have your 2 heart losers, you still have your diamond loser, and you've got that trump loser for their setting trick. Okay, so when you feel an over rough coming, or when you're having to over rough with an honor, if you have a definite loser, it's much preferred to play your loser on loser on that type of hand. Okay, that's one of our big themes today, is the loser on loser hand. So look for the losers. Definite losers, though. Don't go pitching winners on losers. That's not the same. It's got to be a loser that there's nothing else you can do with, right? There's nothing else we can do with that 7 of diamonds. There's no way to trump it. There's no way to discard it, right? So pitch it on the third round of hearts. Let East have their 9 of spades. Now East is going to have to lead a club back to you, a diamond back to you, or a spade back to you. You're going to be able to gain control, pull trump, and the rest of the tricks are yours. You'll be able to rough out a club on this hand. All right, let's see. Oh, we have 3 minutes. Let's take a quick look at our last hand, just so we can, oh, and this is our exciting one. Oh, 3 spades. Okay, 3 minutes. Here we go. Look at South's hand. Is that not a gorgeous hand? 2 clubs, 2 diamonds by North. East doubles. That's a key note there, right? East doubles. He likes diamonds, right? 2 diamonds is artificial, so East likes diamonds. 2 spades by South, 3 spades by North, 5 clubs. All right. Welcome to what is called void wood. It's when you've set trump and you jump to 5 of a new suit. That says, partner, tell me about your aces or your key cards, if your partnership plays key cards, outside the suit that you jumped in. So in other words, South wants to know North's key cards or aces outside the club suit. It's called voidwood. It's a handy little thing. You've got to have some rules to it though before you add it to your card. So make sure you discuss it with partner. Don't pull it out on them and think they're going to know what that means. North shows one ace because they would not show the ace of clubs, okay, by bidding 5 hearts. And South signs off in 6 spades. And we get the 6 of diamonds lead. And it goes 6 of diamonds, small, king, ace. So what's going on in the diamond suit from the double? What do we know about the diamonds? How many diamonds does West have? Right, probably not very many. We can see the 2, 3, 4, 5, and they've led the 6. And East doubled for diamond lead, right? East has 5 or 6 diamonds. All right, so on this hand, we would play East for 5 and West for 1. So we've won the ace of diamonds, and we have to decide whether to take the spade finesse or not. All right, if it loses, we know 100% a diamond is going to come back, and our ace of diamonds is going to get roughed, or our queen of diamonds is going to get roughed out, right? So on this hand, we actually have to foresee the diamond rough. Remember, we're in 6, so we can have a loser. We can have one loser. Our hearts are solid, our diamonds are solid. The one trick we could lose is the king of spades, right? And still make our contract. So you can play a low spade over to the ace, play the ace of clubs, and discard your good diamond away, right? So when they get in with the king of spades, you can rough high and not have a diamond loser, right? So win the ace of diamonds, low spade to the ace of clubs, pitch the queen of diamonds, then lead a spade off the dummy. Now, if West had the spade, then yeah, you could have made 7. But what you've done is you've taken a safety play as East having the king of spades and giving West the diamond rough. Okay, so this one is a cool one because you have to foresee that diamond rough, get rid of your good trick. That's why it's so cool. You have to throw a winner on our winner on this hand to finish us up today. All right, it looks like we are out of time today. Do we have any questions? We'll be here next week, next Wednesday. I'll send out invites to everyone. When I get to India on Friday, I'm going to do a test run to make sure that, you know, the internet, and there's Wi-Fi in the hotel, but make sure that I can connect to you guys. So we'll go on as scheduled, and be sure to go to the Play Better Bridge blog so that you can get updates and on the cheating scandals and on the scores, and I also talk about what the teams do behind the scenes, so it makes it more like you're there with me. And in the past, people have really enjoyed that, and it's fun for me to sort of write a diary of funny things that happen along the way to hopefully winning a medal while we're in India. And again, I thank you guys for coming today, and I'm getting better and better at this, so we'll keep working through, and you guys keep giving me feedback, and I'm going to start adding some bells and whistles too. There's some polls and some other things that I see that they're there, but I don't know how to use them quite yet. So we'll keep having a good time and learning about this game together. And I will see you guys on the blog. If you have any questions about the World Championships and stuff, just send them to me, and I'll post the answers on the blog. And I'll see you when I get to India. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week.